There we go then. Another opening ceremony completed for the Dota 2 Asia Championships for 2018, the third DAC that we've had. We were sort of watching that because there are like undertones and pointers to what might happen in the real world by the fighting and by the weapons used. And by virtue of going through all the weapons, I actually think Liquid are in a lot of trouble.
No, the team with the fan.
Vici had a fan, which,
yeah.
It's like Jack said, could be used as a range weapon.
It's high skill cap.
Yeah, high skill cap weapon. I wouldn't rule them out completely, but at least they've got one fan.
I'm definitely not putting my money on the team that has a fan. No, just no.
Okay, but Liquid had stick. Literally had a stick, and you said sticks can hurt. Dude,
Sticks
the rest of them have got swords and stuff in there.
If they keep their distance, if they're quick, you can. Come on.
It's a staff, first of all. If it's made of quality, if it's made of quality materials, it's not that easy to slice through, and he gets a range advantage.
Jack,
so.
Thank you, Jack. I was agreeing with you.
It's a Monkey King bar, Jack.
We literally had medieval history lessons from Jack during that.
We did. I was definitely on point though, on board with the halberd. The halberd was one of the nice ones. What the halberd again? That was.
Yeah, I can't
did
remember.
you write them? Optic.
Wait, was it Optic?
No, it wasn't Optic. It was later on, so it was quite late.
It was IG.
Maybe.
Wasn't
I always went to it. It looked like a.
That is pretty cool.
It looked like a Poseidon stick to me.
There's a difference between the trident and the halberd. That's
There
what we
is.
had to make sure.
Thanks for reminding, Jack. Thanks.
But enjoyable. It's always fun. I mean, I personally like opening ceremonies where they're a bit more grand like that.
I love the usage of the stage. All the colors and everything was really cool. That's for me is always just pretty.
Where does it rate in your opening ceremonies? Where does it? I mean, it's not it's not violins on stage as Windrunner, which personally is my favourite.
I mean, it's up there. I like those. I like those where they at least they act this stuff out instead of it's just like, okay, we're gonna click a button and everything's just gonna go. So at least like it's a lot more effort. So that for me is.
I mean, if they had Lindsay
better.
Sterling on stage here, maybe I would have been for it.
I have to agree with that because the music is just like
Was
it just builds up at the
fantastic,
start,
wasn't
right?
it?
I think that's the difference. This is
true.
performance, but you don't have the same music to it. So.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get into our first series very shortly, and I'm hearing that our players are almost ready to come out.
Welcome on stage, Newbee. Welcome on stage, Evil Geniuses.
both teams out onto the stage through some sort of walkway and a pathway and past the giant Roche. I've still not figured out how I'm going to get the Roche into carry-on in my luggage.
I just want the Radiance. I don't want the Roche.
Yeah.
Really? The Roche definitely looks like.
I think
Other
Roche
ones,
is
that's a
amazing,
weapon.
man.
That you're definitely not going to get on. The
No.
Roche, they're going to be, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You might be able to get away with that one.
You reckon? Looks quite heavy as well.
We're talking about
We'll
how the
manage.
Roche should be.
I just have to persuade Jack to let me on his private plane, and we'll be fine.
We're talking about how Roche should have the to be the one that drops the rapier, third or fourth Roche. You know?
Balance.
No, do you know what I want? I want the winning team to have to draw the sword out. And
Maybe-
lift it as the
I think that's
trophy.
what.
Is that what they do?
That's probably what the plan is. I mean,
Maybe that would be amazing if
It
that
will-
actually is. Sorry, have I just blown it? I'm sorry, I've just given something away. Let's talk about the series. Newbee versus Evil Geniuses. This is a common series. You know, we've seen this a lot over the last couple of years, and especially on the DPC this year as well.
Yeah, I think EG in particular for me they've been playing like better and better as this like iteration has gone along with Misery. Once they bring him in, I think like the addition of Bulba has been really helpful for them, and I think Newbee, Newbee's been very hit or miss for me, especially like in this tournament. In this tournament, they're very up and down. I think they're going to struggle in this time around. I think we always like talk about it is like for Newbee, they need Kaka to have like this incredibly good game, while I think EG has a lot more things to fall back on.
It's incredible as well, Winter. These two are 4th and 7th right now in the DPC, and yet they meet each other in this elimination match. That's not good, is it? For points-wise, they need to make their way through to that top 4 on a regular basis.
Points-wise, probably more important for EG because they are like barely making it. I mean, they have like what Mineski, who else?
Navi around there,
Navi,
Fnatic are around
everyone
that
is
kind
like
of
really
OG,
close.
VGJ Thunder, they're all pretty close around that 1600 to sort of 600 mark.
Well,
Yeah.
OGs doesn't.
OGs doesn't
count.
really matter, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's 5 or so teams in the middle of that. So yeah, big time for them. Lots of pressure on Newbee. You said in the intro that maybe there's not so much pressure on them now because people didn't like the look of them in the group stages. Maybe that pressure is less for them.
Yeah, it's strange to think about because again, they're 4th in the standings,
Yeah.
right? So they should be below the big 3. But I think that this team has been under a lot of pressure for some time because they had been the strongest Chinese team. But I think back this series, I think back specifically to last year at Manila Masters when these two played each other. I think EG made a point of banning the CM first phase, and it was like that kind of just made the series very easy for them to win at that tournament. So I would say coming into this series. Obviously, like the hopes, the home crowd as well. Not as much as before because they have not looked very good lately. But I would say that if you're a Newbee, this is a tough series because you have to figure out, you have to kind of pick your poison on what to ban. That this new EG lineup has been playing a lot of things very well. You have to worry about the Beastmaster, the Nature's Prophet, the possibly the Pango, like so many things that you have to worry
Dark
about.
Willow.
Dark Willow.
The Wisp as well, and
Yep.
Dark Willow, right? But then if you're EG, it's almost like besides the Naga, like what are the main threats of Newbee that you just absolutely have to remove?
I would put like Disruptor up there probably. Like you mentioned the CM in particular. I think Faith has been like probably one of the most consistent players on Newbee. He always seems to have like a good performance. So I think like for me, I'd actually rate his support heroes pretty highly.
Yeah, I mean, what of the teams have been doing in the group stages was ban the Naga and the Disruptor together.
Yep.
And then just not let them have that. Optic took a totally different route against them and said, nope,
They
we're
left
just going to
both.
let both of them through and we're going to beat you with them as well. Which actually gives them a few headaches now, doesn't it? Because the teams that were effectively banning both of those two was almost a wasted 2 if Newbee weren't particularly going to play them anyway. Now they've got less that's bannable, I guess.
Yeah, I think you'd probably still want to focus on that one because when they do play it well, they play it on they play it to that
I mean,
top
it's
execution.
a BO3. I think you can maybe just let them have one game because it's like a big psychological boost. If you give it to them in the first game and you beat them, and
That's true.
second game
So
would
it's
be
true.
like easy.
Yeah, indeed. It would be quite tough if they have it in the first game and lose with it. EG have won the last 3 games against Newbee, Jack, and they've played a lot on over the years. Is there anything in Newbee's minds that kind of puts this again as oh my goodness, another Western team to beat?
I mean, just talking to them a little bit, I think with a team that drafts as heavily for lane and for these kind of abusive lane matchups as EG does, Newbee feel to some extent, if they can do well in lanes, then their mid game and their team fight and their coordination is going to be better than EG's after that. So I think that's a big focus for them in the draft. So even these other heroes like these Abaddons and such, I would say that create kind of abusive lane matchups and are flexible. Those have to be the points that Newbee very much tries to take away.
I'm glad you bring up like the Abaddon. I think in particular, there's so many teams that are focusing on Fear, and I keep noticing this. They're just like they're ganking him, they're banning a couple of his heroes and stuff too. That's his role. That's his job right now. So I feel like if Newbee they can approach that and they actually look at it and go, okay, we're actually going to shut down Arteezy and Sumail instead.
Yeah.
That can be like the winning.
I would say
success.
Sumail is maybe a little bit more higher in priority in my list against EG because Sumail is the tempo player.
Yep.
If you shut down the tempo player, the farmer, which is Arteezy, will have an indirect hard time because he's not going to get as much space as he would want to. So I would focus a lot of my attention on making sure that Sumail does not get a good start.
Is it surprising that most teams have not done that, Jack?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, EG does try to secure Sumail one-on-one.
And give him a good matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
they're quite happy to let Fear get sacked in whatever he's playing, whether he's playing in the lane or not.
Yeah, like we've seen a couple times they camp him mid with 3 heroes, and EG's like, all right, might send some help once in a while if you dive too hard, but sure, Sumail's getting a one-on-one, Artur's getting space, like these guys will win us the game. They're okay with that. And I think another hero to watch out for is the AA. Because when you want to kind of sit in lanes with your heroes, but you want to be able to still make plays with just small rotations, AA is the only support that offers that kind of global reach. So I think that's something else that really enables EG's playstyle. But yeah, like they're happy to, someone has to, they had a resource distribution problem before. That's why they made such huge roster changes. And Fear is always the guy who's willing to be like, hey, I'll do whatever the team needs. Ego aside, all that stuff aside, like it's okay. I'll take this one for you and you guys, carry me.
Which is in stark contrast to the other side of the fence with SCCC, isn't it? I mean, he's been criticised for not being that guy, not coming along to the new meta and being that sacrificial lamb occasionally and just wanting to be the star player all the time. How is he handling that?
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to last year, this is the guy who plays the Quaps and the TAs, comes in and cleans up. I call him a harvester type of player where, like, you set the table for him and he comes in and he cleans up, right? He gets the farm. It's kind of the exact opposite, as you mentioned, Paul. The patch changed a little bit. Mid got a little bit less resources. They started to move him off some of those heroes into more of these, like, DP Viper type of tempo frontliners.
Pugna, yeah.
But recently they've moved him back to that previous role as well. So that'll be interesting to watch because some of those heroes that have to like start fights or be more frontliners, he does not play as well as that kind of cleanup role. That
I mean, that's part of the reason why they are struggling. Like most of the teams that have been doing well, they've been switching around with their position 1 and position 2 player. They're moving around with what heroes they are playing, what kind of space maker certain players are given. But with this team, the space maker is never really on SCCC. He always farms a lot. And KP, usually the guy that's getting sacked, and he's the space maker. And we've seen time and time again how when the space maker gets sacked, it becomes really, really hard for the whole team.
Yep.
And Newbee doesn't really like to help KP that much.
Yeah, it's true.
So it puts a lot of pressure on Takaka. Because then he's the one that has to make all the plays, and then KP's kind of shut down. Like, it's all up to the supports really at that point.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I feel like I watch their games. He has the tendency to always like play mid. Like he really likes to help out SCCC, which in some games where I feel if you look at the big picture, is actually not really that ideal for them to help out their mid player. It's better for them to help out KP because KP is going to be the person that creates the environment for everyone to shine. But KP gets sacked, so the game becomes hard.
Yeah, the other part that gets hard sometimes is Kaka is like one of the more traditional fours. Like he's always going to get his farm. So if KP has to give up a lane or someone else has to give up the lane so he can get his blink, like that's pretty much always going to happen. And so that might slow things down even more. If they help SCCC, he doesn't get to the point where he can kind of take over the game and Kaka has to stop and farm and KP sacked, then they can look really weak going into the mid game.
I think it's better for them like to go aggro if they want to do this, because I think if you go aggro, give KP the safe lane, even if he gets a bad matchup there, it's a safe lane. He's going to still be able to get some XP and farm. I see some teams doing that, like especially Fnatic. They just give the safe lane to the tempo hero. So even if he gets a bad matchup, he's still going to be okay.
But then you were saying you don't really want Sumail to be put in that 1v1 though, right? Because then it puts Sumail in a 1v1 versus KP, and Sumail is...
Yeah, but as long as you get a good matchup, I think it's fine for KP. But then again, we've seen Newbee, they always pick KP's hero maybe in the third pick.
Third pick, like every time.
And Sumail's hero is maybe going to come later. So KP is more or less unlikely to get a good matchup.
Yeah, that's one of the key areas.
It's concerning, yeah, because like, I mean, we've been seeing it like over and over again. They like to pick a lot of these same heroes for KP in particular, like these Underlords, Tidehunters in majority of the games. So I think they have to maybe give him a little bit more options, not be so predictable versus EG and Bulba in particular, because he always does his homework.
Indeed. One of the other key areas is the carry. We haven't really spoken about these two carries in this team. Both offer very different kind of carry roles. Just explain to those that are relatively new to these two teams why it's so different.
I feel like Arteezy is more farm heavy. especially like the carries that he's been playing. Been playing like these Lunas, stuff like that, and Mugi's been playing more of like he's been moving around along the map with gyrocopters in particular. So I think I don't know. It's tough because like
Mugi is the carry, but not exactly the carry.
exactly yeah. Like they make our SCCC be the carry kind of in a way, like we've been mentioning, and yeah, it's gonna be it's weird because of that like interaction that comes out when it's Arteezy is going to be much more greedy in particular.
It comes down to the resource management, how they're going to distribute their resources so they can actually have a better game. I feel like Newbee, that's the part where they are weakest right now. The resource management is not efficient for them.
We've got our featured matchup on screen, which we've already touched a little bit on SCCC. But what about Fear? Because I feel like he might be the most unselfish Dota 2 player in history.
I mean, just look at this. Look at his net worth, and then look at his hero damage. Everything is just much lower because that's the way he plays it.
And if you just looked at it on this basis, you just go, "Well, he's a terrible player. this guy's awful compared to this other guy. What the hell's going on?" Anyone looking at that that's new would literally think that, right? But you can't underestimate his importance in this EG lineup when you've got two players like Arteezy and Samao, because he literally is the reason they're able to go off in games.
He's the sacrifice, but I've also seen games where teams are just like, all right, we're gonna leave Fear doing his own thing, and then you're like, oh my god,
but
he goes
play
berserk.
a great game, right?
Yeah, he definitely can.
And that's the danger, isn't it, with him? You can sack his lane, and that means two other guys are having a great time and they're having a party, or you can forget about him, and actually he can go just the same.
Yeah, and he plays these very annoying heroes, right?
Dragon Knight, Viper, Razor, Visage.
Yeah, just wants to add another Veno in there, and it'd be just as annoying as the
I'm
guys on Liquid.
I'm surprised he's not actually playing the Veno more. That's definitely him.
It actually should suit him, that kind of hero.
Yep.
He doesn't really care much. I'm sure he's willing to play any hero that he needs to play for the team.
Yeah, he's definitely played a number of heroes over the period as well.
Talked about versatility because I think the other day you're talking about how Kuro had like one or two heroes that he hadn't played.
Yeah, five now. Just five in the entire game.
But Fear's got to be up there again over the years.
He's definitely over 100.
I think he's at 106.
106,
right?
okay.
I'm pretty sure it's like 105 or 106. He's got a lot.
Yeah.
He's also played like all five roles.
He's
right?
played every role. He's done whatever the team has needed, and not just that. Like psychologically as well, just being that steady presence all the time.
Yeah.
Stop people from tilting, being the first to step in and be willing to sacrifice.
Stop people from tilting.
Right, well, we're into the draft, and are we going to get the bans we thought we would get? We've got the Sand King, so the Kaka Sand King has gone, and they've gone for a Razor instead this time. So they're going to give them Disruptor, and they're going to give them
Naga.
Yep.
To see how they get on against them.
I mean, like I said, it's a BO3. I think it's fine to try out the first game, because if it works, I think the risk-reward factor is really, really big, because you win this game, you give them the best heroes. It's just going to be easy afterwards.
Well, they kind of teased us with that. We've sort of got the draft going.
But they banned Nature's Prophet, they banned Beastmaster and Viper. That was what Newbee banned, I think. So I think that's a good approach. I think the Nature's Prophet messes too much with the game plan.
Prophet is the key ban.
Okay,
so there's the Naga.
There's the Naga as we would have thought. There's
DK.
the early DK.
DKAA.
Fizz already lost his lane.
DKAA or DK Willow?
You'd think DK Willow, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I
think so.
With the way the meta's been going, the way these guys have been playing it.
It's also because the hero versus Naga Disruptor, you can distance yourself so far. The terrorized cast range is actually absurd. You can mess with the combo if they do go for the Sleep Disruptor ulti.
5 seconds remaining.
I actually did not know how far the cast range was till the other day when I looked at it.
You're like in the bushes.
It is yeah.
You're like in the bushes when you cast the Willow. They have a choice now. They can go Disruptor or take the Willow themselves, which Faith has been playing.
Yeah. So the DK, I really like this DK versus if there is a Naga Disruptor, these BKB carriers toward the later stages in these tanky cores that if you get to that point, they just completely nullify everything that combo does.
I mean, this is also really smart, because when you pick AA, you don't want to be dealing with Nature's Prophet in a lane. And they ban out in the first phase, so it makes AA such a good opening pick here. I mean, the other hero is like Brood, but it's very rarely you see Brood in the first phase. Those are the heroes you do not want to play against when you're A.
Only Virtus Pro first pick Brood.
Yeah, because they're crazy.
They also know that Newbee is extremely unlikely to punish them with Chen or Enchantress. Again, I don't think Enchantress has been played by anyone in this lineup for years. They played Chen once or twice against Thunder in Bucharest, but they don't really play Chen that confidently either. So you're not going to be able to punish this kind of support.
They don't really play Brood either, right?
Yeah, and there's one more thing about Newbee as well. they actually really hate playing against Bounty Hunter. They really like to ban Bounty. If you take note of their ban list coming into the event, they really hate playing against Bounty Hunter, and when they run Bounty Hunter themselves, they don't really have much success with the hero too. So and Bounty Hunter is one of like Misery's I would say favorite hero. He really loves playing those invis heroes. So we might see that coming in to play.
The Lifestealer ban.
I think when you have Gyrocopter, you mostly want to take out Lifestealer, especially with the way that EG plays.
Lifestealer, Jug, probably.
Yeah, Lifestealer and Jug are the two.
But it also enables a bad pick.
Yeah, Bear Rider is also very annoying.
There's a bad ban, yeah. So other heroes, I mean, I don't know Newbee doesn't play it, but versus AA, one of the worst is actually the Visage. That's what a lot of the NA teams in particular do. They see these like heroes these like support heroes that can do nothing versus the familiars, and you just,
but
really can't.
Do you like position 5 Visage? You think it's fine?
Yeah, Newbee last playing Visage 5 months ago.
Faith, I believe Faith plays it.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
I'm not. I like it more actually in the core role lately. If it's like a
me
fourth
too,
or fifth pick.
you want to buy the helm early and push towers, helm medallion, push towers, get Roshan.
Going back to your point earlier, by the way, Brood. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not a single game
Newbee
on
doesn't
record for
play.
any of the EG players.
Not for EG either, huh? Okay. Because Universe used to be the Brood player when he was with them.
I mean, if they pick Brood now, who's most likely to play it?
On EG, I mean, I would probably throw it on Fear. Right? Right?
They can play anything, right?
They can play anything, right? That's what I would think. So they ban out the Pugna, that's the Sumail hero.
And Pugna with A, all those magic damage.
And it's Tower Forcer with Dragon Knight too.
Yeah, ET is still in the pool. ET is pretty good against Naga, but they go with the Tusk.
That can be a good way to protect after like the sleep. You sleep combo with call down, you can snowball and protect your allies with it, and it also just synergy with AA is always going to be pretty good.
Yeah, the 4 had to be the playmaking support anyway, so this is the Earth Spirit. There is the Underlord available still. If the offlane pool might start to shrink a little bit, so
right. I mean, the third pick KP hero, right?
I think you kind of want to pick the position 5 hero, so that you can give, because like we discussed a bit about how KP, you want to give him more priority.
Yeah.
You want to try.
They might leave his till a bit later this time.
Yeah, but
I do really like the Underlord though.
I mean, but in general,
here.
they've been picking the KP hero most of the time, and Underlord with Naga is really a good combo.
And versus Tusk, because then you can't actually snowball, because you get caught in the root. You can't actually grab
if
your
not,
allies.
it's the Willow or Disruptor.
So the Underlord probably the next pick.
Yeah, probably the next pick is Underlord. I mean, Newbee just sticking with their guns as we kind of expected.
Yeah.
Yep, this is probably the 3 most picked heroes they've had over the last 3 months.
There's still that Abba available that we talked about. There's lane flexibility. Yeah, there's lane flexibility with this hero. At this point, they have very little damage to bring him down or really threaten him in the early game. So he's going to get to that late game usually in pretty good shape. He doesn't really care too much about the combos or wombo as well, and he offers more save and protection for whatever Arctur core. There's a morph left on the table too, and there's
That's
early-ish Luna.
Oh,
I thought they'd actually save that for the last pick, to be honest.
No, Sumail's getting the last pick.
He wants the last pick, yeah. He wants the matchup versus KP.
They are going to make sure he does get a good matchup.
I mean, both teams are just... This is very cookie-cutter lineups from both sides.
Yeah.
They're very comfort.
I mean, when I look at Newbee, I generally kind of feel like their lineup's okay. It's just about how they play and how I say this a lot, how they distribute their resources, which is, I think, the most important factor right now. If they can get that resource distribution correctly, they're going to be able to play their lineup. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for them.
I do think they have to play pretty fast-paced, though. I was mentioning the Dragon Knight, the BKB core, right? Like, Luna is the same thing. You get that BKB. Once you get those timings versus Naga Disruptor, it makes the game incredibly hard because both supports just become kind of moot.
And with Luna A, there's a possibility that EG might be able to, like, go aggro try to give Sumail, like, if they get a good matchup for Sumail, give Sumail 1v1, and he's going to be on a safe lane against KP. That would be also really good for EG.
And EG's got the very last pick, too.
Yeah.
Because they were second pick, so...
This is surely the Underlord here, otherwise it gets banned, right?
They might be considering that, what we discussed before, like, KP's farm is going to be very, very crucial, and EG's leaving Sumail's hero last. Very interesting.
Okay.
I think the thing that scares me is when if they did grab like Underlord or Tide, which we were traditionally looking at, is that's a very hard lane to actually get anything out of. Like Luna, AA, Tusk, there's a lot of damage coming between that. So I think they want to have a hero that can force that experience. And the clock allows you to do that because of the cog block,
Yeah,
right?
I think kind of goes back to what we discussed earlier, where they like to leave KP alone. Clock is one of those heroes that can be left alone. But he hasn't played the hero for some time, right?
2 months.
I mean, it's good against Luna and AA.
It's a good ban.
He last played it in a qualifier match for GSC Indonesia against Fiji.
He can get he can get pretty greedy with the builds too. I think he gets Midas, Blink, Ags on this hero sometimes.
Yeah,
like he tries to scale it.
Midas is pretty good on clockwork if you can afford it.
Midas.
Yeah, but
Just get a Dominator, right? Right, Jack?
Nah, Dominator.
I'm joking.
Dominator best
I'm
item.
just saying because he's got snaking on his team. He's snaking
please
Bison
don't
everyone.
trigger Winter at this time in the morning. The man's only had 1 coffee.
And they banned the TA. Okay.
That's odd.
Yeah, Newbee banning TA is definitely.
It's a
Is
wasted
there an
ban, isn't it?
Invoker pick here? Do they want the greedier?
I mean, with
mid
the
here?
TA ban, you'd imagine that, right? Like, why else would they ban
So
Templar
they think
Assassin?
that DK might be the offlane, which would be very unusual for EG.
Huh. Bizarre.
I mean, you can do that.
Yeah, but they haven't.
I mean, the thing is that they have the
It has
gyro.
been played offlane, but not by
Right?
EG, right?
They have the gyro. That's why I'm like, the TA ban is strange. And yeah, it's a bit weird. Newbee down to 5 seconds. And yeah, Jack, good call.
Nice. So
That's all about the combo.
where
But
do EG go then? The puck is still there.
they're decided.
Yep.
They're gonna go for a lane matchup probably, like someone that has a really good lane matchup against Invoker to bully him.
I feel like Abba's even better at this
Yeah.
point. It's like you don't want to commit. It's a hero that you can't really burst down, right? So you want like better sustain. You don't want to be combo based against that kind of hero. So I think that would be problematic for Newbee.
But the thing is they have Tusk, so it's gonna be very easy for them. If they get a good matchup against Invoker, the Tusk can just repeatedly kill the Invoker in the mid lanes. There's gonna be a lot of openings. So I kind of feel like because of that, you might want to put the DK in the off lane and just pick a better matchup so that you can keep killing him.
And it's going to be the puck.
Puck against Invoker. Puck, I think early levels is okay, but once Invoker gets higher levels in the Exort, then it'll be difficult for him.
But they're going to have a Tusk
Yeah,
there.
the Tusk is going to be
Yeah.
there, so Invoker is going to maybe get killed once or twice in the laning phase early.
If Sumail is going to actually play that puck in the mid.
Yeah, we are kind of unsure.
Which we're
yeah.
kind of, we're not 100%, but
Maybe. They have switched up those roles. Jack, it's prediction time. Your favourite part of the show.
I actually like this puck pick. It adds a lot of tempo versus the Abba, who kind of takes away from it. I think EG are going to find a lot of kills and win a lot of skirmishes, and I don't think Newbee are going to get online fast enough for the combo to work. I'm going EG game 1.
Right?
I think I'm not too big of a fan of the clockwork core. I mean, even though there's some easy targets for him to pick off, but I feel like what Jack mentioned, the combo has a long cooldown. EG is going to be playing really quick with the puck, so I'm going with EG as well.
Okay.
if
Former EG player at the end.
Thanks. No, I think I think the thing is, like I was mentioning, the BKB cores very often, like the Dragon Knight, the Luna, these heroes, and then they have an Invoker last. So they already want to get BKBs and then the Invoker. So I have to go for EG. I think they're gonna have too fast of a start, and if they do get that magic immunity, it cripples the combos coming out from Newbee. Sorry.
You could have just said, I'm a former EG player, EG.
Thanks,
And that
Paul.
would have been fine. That would have worked as well. We got there in the end. All three have gone for Evil Geniuses in our opening game. Let's head inside the arena and join your commentary team for game number 1.
Inside the arena in a beautiful location, courtside seats, you could almost say, Kyle, to what could be one of the greatest brand matchups of the day. Evil Geniuses up against Newbee. We were talking about the draft at the very start. We can talk about First Blood. Evil Geniuses aggressively moving into the dire jungle, finding Kaka. You got there just in time.
Yeah. I love level 1 smokes in opening games of a series, either game 1, game 3. Usually you're so busy preparing for the draft, setting up the game plan, you're caught sleeping, and then you're like, oh crap, and all of a sudden, who got the first blood? Was that Sumail? Probably the worst player on
Sumail.
EG to give it to, yeah.
Yeah, Sumail claimed the first blood. Let's actually talk about that draft, because we were sitting here talking about, like, while our panel having a chat, we were talking about it as well. Newbee, very, very predictable in their draft. How do you actually feel like both sides are going to be after this draft is now full, like 5-on-5.
I mean, Newbie styles, as it always is, they want to play for the big team fight with the Naga song. I think EG's timing is, they picked Gyro into AA, which I'm really not a fan of.
The fact they actually let the DK AA as well in the first two.
That's like EG's go-to Gyro counter, and they picked it into it. And now EG has like the stronger lanes, and it's all about Newbie playing for this big team fight, and specifically SCCC Invoker has got to go off. That's what will actually activate the Gyro to deal enough damage with the flak and take the game.
Yeah, that was one of the things that both of us were very happy about. We were worried that SCCC would end up playing that Gyrocopter and just almost being a waste of SCCC's talent. But with him on that Invoker, I have a little bit more hope that this game can be close, even though it does feel like EG have the advantage. The panel felt it, we felt it. And they've already taken that first blood top lane. Perfect shot control again. Kaka will have his second death of the game as that Naga Siren. You've got to respect the amount of damage and buff up that an Ancient Apparition brings to the lane. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time we'll see this.
Yeah, I think this tri-lane might continue to be more of the same for EG. They got the ward too.
Yep.
Such a huge advantage. Like I don't actually know how you can test AA Luna Tusk as a tri-lane. Every shard block is going to be a kill.
It does feel a little bit dodgy. Like you can't do much about it. At least the shard block this time will miss. And the cooldown was extended. This was one of the small changes that came out. So with the early levels, it is only like 2 seconds longer cooldown timer.
But what's problematic is that bottom, Sumail not only has the first blood, but Puck vs. Clock is a very favorable matchup, even if you weren't one of the best solo players in the world.
I suppose, well, top lane, goodbye Mugi. This time he's the one to get shard blocked up. They had Snowball available for the Tusker. And again, it's this Vortex, chilling touch. You can't run away. The Losing Beam holds you in position once the shards control you. And Newbee just cannot do anything about this bottom lane. But what are they meant to do? They can't rotate KP in. This Clockwork is going to have exactly the same problems as every other person.
Yep. KP's already out of regen at half health and losing in CS.
Yeah.
Mid's going the way of Fear as well for now.
He's trying to burn off the mana of Sumail with the cogs, but it's very minimal burn for the amount of harassment he's taking, and Sumail already has the full magic wand. So every time the cogs, every time the rockets for CS, like Sumail's getting more and more levels, and I'm personally keeping my eyes on this bottom lane, even though the top lane's where the blood should be spilt once the Tuskar returns, but it's just Sumail's burst damage potential against KP. And yeah, Tuskar's returning top lane, so expect another kill to come the way of EG. Kaka is the one being pinged.
I mean, it looks like EG is in prime position to run away with the game if they just don't make any mistakes. And right now they have advantages in every lane.
Newbee do have one small advantage, though, which is the fact they can bring in the Sunstrike from the Invoker. So they can bring some extra damage to the top, which EG may not be fully ready for. But your target would have to be someone like the Disruptor. I don't know if you can really kill off Arteezy. And this range harass damage isn't doing much either from the flat cannon of Mugi. It's more allowing him to get some level of CS, but the top 3 CSs for EG are well and beyond in favor of Evil Geniuses. 24-8, 22, 14-7. This is all EG's.
Yep, they did get the D ward on the easy camp. I'd like to see Newbee pull just so they can start messing with the creep equilibrium. Get a pull off, farm one wave under tower, then push with a double wave, because right now EG has lane control and you can't they're just sitting there as 3 heroes looking at them.
Yeah, they did it once.
They are going to pull.
They did it once, but the problem is EG is also doing the same thing. Like they can pull over to this double stack, which is available in crit. He's keeping a very close eye on it. He's also coming to contest the 400 runes. Bottom lane, KP, the cogs actually keeping him barely alive on 34 HP. There's the top lane where now the Snowball initiation over towards Faith. The sharp block in is perfect. Where's the extra help? The flat cannon from Mugi is doing some level of damage, but Karka's also got troubles. Multiple Karkas to choose from. Which one will they go? They ping the left, it's the right, and Karka has just enough space to back out of this one. Faith, not in range, and also doesn't have Glimpse, so that's all for naught.
It's the downside of Disruptor in a tri-lane. It's a great zoning support, but you really only offer a Thunder Strike for the early portion of the game, and the damage output just isn't there. They force Faith to skill the Mirror Image as well, so they won't have any actual control with the Ensnare, and that's the Sunstrike setup.
I cannot believe how heavily Sumail is winning this bottom lane. Actually, yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can.
We've seen him throughout the tournament. His faceless void lanes have just It's like, oh man, this matchup should be pretty even, and then he's just like double the CS. Misery, this is the best opportunity Newbee have had for a kill in a long time. And Kaka, they have to work together. Misery's in the tree lines. There's no mana for Sunstrike at the moment from the Invoker, so he can't help out. Instead, it's Naga to go down. Faith wants to keep the run going. There's your Thunderstrike. Misery has to move north to stay away from the damage on Crit, who has 15 one charges, so he is okay. But the Shrine has just come up, so more than likely Arteezy and Crit will burn that. But Newbee finally on the board.
This mid lane is... I did not think that Fear would perform so well against Invoker. Once you get to this level, you're hitting for nearly 100 a hit on... he's just getting crushed. He's getting doubled up.
This is surprising to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Newbee gave EG everything they wanted, and they picked the same draft that's been losing since they won that tournament in Malaysia. And I'm just very surprised. They gave away the AADK. They gave the best solo player on EG a free 1v1 lane after a first blood. Like, what? This is just EG following their own game plan, and it's working like as we expected.
I'm surprised too, like Newbee picked such a solid hero. Like we were looking at KP for this off lane, and we're saying like it's going to be Underlord, it's going to be Tidehunter if we go for the whole Newbee default thing. Clockwork, a hero who have seen effective in a 4 role, but 3 role, not so much. And you haven't even got level 6 just yet. Like Puck is level 7. This Clockwork is 4.5. This is beyond disastrous as far as Newbee goes for their beginning. And I'm interested to see like how long it's going to take. The panel was saying like Newbee are going to be playing a faster paced game. EG is going to be playing a faster paced game. How does Newbee keep up? Like SCCC is still dreaming of this Midas, which you kind of wanted to have by like the 9-minute mark. But he will not get that. Shard's only barely pushing Mugi out.
That would have been another kill if they'd landed them. Misery, I believe, with 2 points in the Chilling Touch. They're so strong. Like every time that spell's active, they can kill pretty much 2 heroes with the damage output from that alone.
Samel's got this burst damage. As long as he can connect with the Illusionary Orb, he can kill off KP, because Dreamcoil is available. And KP's low enough, he knows that he's dead. There's no regeneration, there's no 1 charges for himself to work with.
Sumail's level 8?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, Sumail is a full 3 levels in front, and there it is. You could see it coming from a mile away. KP will die, and he knew it. KP was trying to juke it out in the tree line, and Sumail just wrapped around the back of the tower.
Oh my. What?
Snowball up towards the top lane. Mugi, Shard blocked in. The Ensnare trying to hold him in. Here comes your Sunstrike. It hits on the Crit. It's a Crit. Heavy damage, but they got to find the kill. Magic 1 charges gave Crit a little bit more life with the Loser Beam. No way, Crit lives through this. Yeah, he doesn't. The Naga Illusions will get the kill. But you've lost practically everything on top for a revenge kill into Crit, who was worth 336 gold. That's nothing to shrug at,
But does it... That was a 3v3 with the Sunstrike, and they ended up trading 2 for 1. Oh, it's Crit's mid again.
Yep. Quick rotations. Rolling Boulder in onto SCCC. Or Snowball, I should say. Back underneath the tower with the arrival of Kaka. EG do not want to dive the tower, and they have no need to. They're already winning this game. They just have to keep the status quo.
Newbee's got to kind of just try and delay the game. KP's got to get 6, look to rotate.
Yep.
He wants to land a kill on the Luna most of all, but my issue with Newbee's right now, Newbee's draft right now, is they have nothing to actually kill the Puck. They have Disruptor ults, but he's going to be so far ahead that by the time that's a threat, he might have like a Yules, a Dagon, whatever Sumail chooses to go. And I think he's going to go the Dagon build and just pop him every fight.
He's got 4.8k net worth. Like, as far as the mid goes, he's 1.4k in front of the mid. This is beyond an Evil Genius dream. And they're going to go again up on top. Snowball, Shards, Lucent Beam, Chilling Touch. Mugi just doesn't have the sustain. Kaka wanted to walk in to help out. He went for 1 quick rip type, but he doesn't have the damage. Sunstrike is onto Arteezy, but damage gets split between Arteezy as well as Crit Kaka. They with some 1 charges, and here comes SCCC. The meatball gets dropped, and the Glimpse, they're looking for more punish, but no.
Wow.
Into a snowball. Crit's able to dodge it. And Newbee would have loved to have doubled that one up. That would have been the big rotation, because then SCCC, if he got that kill, he'd be right back on track for that Hand of Midas timing.
The issue is, it's again, the downside of rotating is they're just leaving this Puck in the bottom lane. Nearly no pressure on him. He's now 4 levels above KP. And I'm just, when I think EG, I think when you activate Sumail, and your other cores are still in the game, that's when EG plays best. And Sumail's one of his best heroes with this sort of advantage. Like, he's just not gonna drop the ball. They need to make moves to kill him somehow, and they just can't because their draft doesn't have the tools to do so.
He went Veil, so he hasn't got the Dagon yet. He's gone for the Veil instead. Supports rotating back up towards the top lane, underneath the creep wave, underneath the last minute of that Dire Observer ward. So SCCC, who's now become that top laner because Mugi switched in towards mid, will have to defend the aggressive tri lane. This is the hero you cannot afford to lose. Invoker must finish his Midas. But maybe on bottom lane, with KP's level 6, Faith has level 6 as well. They're going to go on Sumail. Hookshot forward. That storm timing should be good. Sunstrike positioning is even better. And Sumail, no, it's not enough to survive. Big rotation from Newbee, exactly what they needed to create some space and get some revenge for the death of their T1 tower on top.
Yep, really well executed. That was a kill they needed to make happen, as we just discussed. Apparently they can't kill him. It just takes 3 heroes and a Sunstrike.
Yep. And it's also the reveal of the hookshot. It's like Sumail wasn't fully ready for it. He was crushing that lane so hard, he probably thought KP would never reach it. But
it's really significant, though, that Faith got the kill. So all that streak bonus went to the Disruptor instead of a core. And in this game, the rest of Newbee's heroes don't matter. They need SCCC and Mugi's Gyro to be ahead. Those are the heroes that win them the game.
Glimpse. Well, he's going to pull Sumail. Wait, what? He actually came up to his death position, and then the Dream Call. Faith has to just sit here and wait. Sumail will lasted him down.
Yeah, he had the orb that he orbed back to after the glimpse, so even if that weren't the case. But really well played. Yeah. I mean, Sumail's just, he's not going to get glimpsed at base. Like, come on. Top, you see them posturing. They might look to dive this Gyro. Both supports are level 6. There it is.
Yeah, there is no help to come towards Mugi. TP support is on the way from Kaka. The Sunstrike positioning is good onto RTZ. The Eclipse being tanked up by the Lord Illusions, and there's KP. Hookshot just came back off cooldown. Misery's in the trees. They don't see him. They have no idea. Crit also going to have successful TP out.
If they got those kills, it would have been worth it. But in the meantime, you have Fear mid, Sumail bottom. So even though it's a 1-for-1 trade, it
they can kill
definitely
off
favors
Fear
EG.
here. They have Glimpse available. Fear knows he has to stand and fight with the double damager, and he's got the confidence. But Deafening Blast of the Storm is up. He's locked inside the wall. Regeneration is high, but not high enough. Mugi will be the one to take that kill.
The timing for EG is going to be when they get the blink on Sumail. He already has the Veil, 700 off the blink. Both supports are 6, so they're free to just run around the map for the rest of the game. They might look to dive bot, set up for this tower. I think that's the move. They have a great ward on Newbee in the top area of the map. It sees the shrine and the lane, so they know there's no support here.
He's dead. Snowball, Dream Coil, with the Orb and Rift connecting, and Misery even giving him the bonus damage to the Chilling Touch. And it was inevitable that KP would die. And that kill goes to Sumail, and with the death of the tower, they should bring him just in range. They even ensure he gets him the last hit.
EG has 2 perfect wards up right now. The one up top on the shrine, and then the other one on the high ground by the tower they just killed. They're the perfect aggressive wards to play around when you have this much map control.
Crit's looking for a new target. Observer ward behind the tier 1 tower. Don't think Kaka actually saw that, as Crit was able to do it from inside the tree line. But with that early vision, then now the blink completed, you know where EG is going to be fighting next. It's mid lane, it's tier 1.
If they did see, Newbee does have a ward on this hill in the bottom river, so they did know this was coming.
Glimpse back in, he'll get the Ice Blast to fly out, so the chill is there, and the Snowball! Oh boy, they're all chilled up, Newbee! It's a 1-for-1 trade-off. Mugi begins his TP up towards the shrine, so the homing missile will be chasing down Crit. He's got no Snowball available, 6-1 charges, but the Sunstrike perfectly on target from SCCC. Allows Mugi to claim the last hit. They'll get rid of that Observer ward. And Newbee hold on to their mid tower for now. Sumail still ready for a jump.
Hey, you got to keep in mind, though, as all these fights happen, it's consistently Newbee with 5 heroes, whereas EG is only committing 3 or 4, while another hero is farming in the opposite end of the map. And
Kaka's caught out. They're going to commit Dream Call once more, just allowing RTT to get a simple kill. With 3 points up in Glaives, those Naga illusions don't last long, but now Sumail Faith, he got the wall and stormed down. Sunstrike, Sumail feels it coming, backs away. KP needs a direct line so we can actually get this hook shot in, keep the stun going, but now Ice Blast also on the way, and DK Sumail just dodges it out. He face shift long enough to blink away to safety, and the cold feet onto the clockwork. It was Newbee who were meant to be the aggressors in this, but they're the ones dying.
Yeah. I mean, Arcane Rune on Sumail, on top of the fact that he's level 13, which is that big power spike where you have max phase shift, and all of a sudden, unless you have a Disruptor ult on top of you, you're able to phase shift blink every time.
Newbee, for a while I thought maybe they were able to pull this back. They were flatlining the graph, but now we just start kicking up 7,000, the advantage in net worth, the experience gain also up to 5,000. It is just rolling the way of the Americans. According to Dota Plus, we have 81% win rate, win probability. But it feels a lot more than that. Newbee, maybe they can start landing a combination. Naga has finally hit 6, so Song of the Siren's on, but let's have a quick look at this small little fight with Sumail. So...
Yep, they missed the Sunstrike, and all of a sudden, and with Disruptor ult's gone, as we just said, he can't die. The Arcane Rune allows him to just pump out damage, and right here you can see, level 13, he will not die to this ever, blinks out immediately, and now there's just a Fear Dragonite here that he's not dying either, and both supports, I mean, KP's a core, but he looks like a support right now.
So the only other way you potentially could have made that work is if KP wasn't being blocked by the neutral creeps, because he was trying to find that hook shot timing, and he just couldn't find the direct line in to connect up to Sumail and hold him in position to get that Sunstrike off.
That's the downside of this combo, though, is that you need to commit Disruptor ult and Clock ult with good synergy, and that's to land a kill on one hero. When you look at EG's draft, if they're committing to an actual team fight, like they're like a tidal wave of damage, and right now, until Newbee has a BKB on somebody, like they have no choice but to turn tail and run.
Yep. But this BKB is taking time, like Mugi's going through S and Y. The Invoker still needs to finish up his Aghanim Scepter, but thanks to the Hand of Midas, he's at least keeping up Sumail so close to breaking the smoke, and he does. KP gets revealed, so EG knows what's up. And they're okay with this. You've still got Crit finding space up on top lane to get his farm. Misery soaking up some experience. And Newbee really want to fight. Kaka and Faith are holding hands. If they actually Song of the Siren, like right now from Kaka, they get to. And Kaka starts with the ensnare, Sunstrike, going for Misery, and they will claim him before any real abilities can go with the hook shot. Perfect from KP. Hits the mark on Crit. You have to defensively snowball. The shards are out. It's more of a distraction right there. Watch the birdie while he tried to do the magic trick, but no Houdini this time around. So 2 heroes lost from Evil Geniuses, but both of the supports only.
And it's still really good by them. They're never really committing to Elena's 5. So even though they're giving Newbee a couple of kills, they have to avoid just what you were talking about, the big Song into a Disruptor ult. Make Newbee force this move, because they only really lose this game if they take a terrible team fight where 3 guys are now caught and all of a sudden they get wiped, Newbee gets roached, the game changes. But as long as Arteezy is farming split as these engagements happen, they will trade the supports every time for space.
Yeah. And Arteezy is having that great space you're talking about. Like Mask of Mana, Strike, lands up, BKB is well on the way. He's 2,000 gold into affording that. You're getting a Lincoln Sphere from Sumail as well. So lockdown control on him. It's still going to be pretty possible with Disruptor as well as Clockwork. You can get that hookshot ultimate. So I'm wondering, like, Lincoln Sphere, exactly what is it to block? Like, he's been able to outplay Glimpse. He can outplay almost every projectile. He wasn't worrying about ensnare. Is it just like what, the Invoker?
It's funny. I'd actually prefer him to go like BKB as a 4th item and just go for more of a just any like a Dagon. It's really, I just wanted to get a Dagon. Whenever you have Veil, you can get the Spell Amp talent, and all of a sudden he's just finding the Naga, the Disruptor, killing them. And I've seen him do it in the past. And if you really fear this this Glimpse combo, the Rockets, etc., just have a BKB for after Song. Kill everybody anyway.
Well, he has decided to go with the Lincoln Sphere, however, so Newbee, smoke up there on the warpath, but they were in range of this Observer Ward. It's on that hillside where you remove the tree. Sunstrike, they find a position. It's a hook shot forward towards Misery. KP trying to lock him inside the cogs, but Crit just snowballs straight back out of it, and then isolates KP. The Song of the Siren. Newbee, they want to try and reset this. There needs to be more Carcass to just block up the area and get more vision, but Misery ready to come from behind. Ice Blast still available. Faith is the one that's low. Left behind by the rest of Newbee, retreating back to their tier 2 tower. One defensive Observer Ward up from Kaka so they can see the movement forward, but here comes your Ice Blast. Hits the mark. KP and Kaka. Kaka watching it back home to safety. KP will not be so lucky. That's actually the best case scenario for Newbee to get out of that fight right there. Only losing 2 and not your 2 big cores.
Yeah, they use Song there as well. And whenever you trade 2 for 0 and you use all your spells, you feel bad when you run Newbee's kind of lineup. And to comment on like the way EG's playing this game, the Lincolns on Puck, it's fine because they actually can just farm for the next 10-15 minutes with total map control. They're not actually going to be able to go high ground into Newbee's lineup for another, maybe, I would say maybe on the first Roche, but probably the second.
Sunstrike with the Riptide trying to hit into the DK. Kaka sacrificing himself, so much damage to be taken. Faith, he gets hit by the Ice Blast, but still in range to drag Fear back. Man, they really want him, but then the snowball forward and Eclipse. Arteezy, the perfect position to let those Claves do all the work, but it's a male who is unstoppable. SDCC, his TP out, barely going to survive. KP, he's also on the run, but they won't be able to protect him. The Hood of Defiance doesn't stop Samael, who goes in deeper. Veil Amplification doesn't have any more abilities to reach Faith, and doesn't want to dive too deep under the tower with that level 4 glimpse. Samael, well, glimpse, and then all the way to safety. SDCC was trying to hit the perfect tornado on him, but a little bit too early.
It's real hard for Newbee in this game. This is one of the issues with the lineups they've been drafting throughout this entire event, where they are very team fight focused, and it's dual core. Whereas EG, Mineski, a lot of these teams finding a lot of success are all running 3 cores. And here you see in the replay, they initiate on Fear, but this is a Dragon Knight.
Yep.
He's not dying very easily. The AA ult lands on the gyrocopter as he TPs in, crit with the snowball save. And as you can see, whenever EG's actually 5 and they just commit hard, they're going to lose a couple of players. In this case, only Fear, but they just wash over them.
Yep. Because by the time Fear dies, like, Newbee has expended everything they've got. Newbee are actually playing like they've got Spirit Vessel or Ancient Apparition on their team with the way they initiated onto the DK. Like, then that kind of move would make a lot more sense. But then again, who else do you go on? You got the BKB fully completed over on Arteezy. That's a 10-second one now, so you can't go on him. And once Fear is his own BKB, you can't go on either of these heroes.
And that's the timing for EG. They almost have the Luna BKB. Then they get the Fear BKB, and they go Roche, and then they can
They have to go
do
on
what they want.
Samael, actually. Like, they need a Song of the Siren just hook. In fact, that's exactly what happens. Hook shot in. Sunstrike will be able to connect, still inside the storm. Samael cannot be protected even with that Lincoln Spear, but Snowball forward. Disruptor will drop, and really, EG are too far ahead. Newbee, they're trying to get whatever picks they can. They understand the only core they can potentially kill, but even that is more than a hard ask. It's an impossible ask.
That sets up for the Roche. In the meantime, Mugi trying to pressure tier 1 bottom desperately. He actually went for the full S and Y. I feel like if there was ever a game to get a BKB earlier, it would be this one.
Samael, well, the orb's going to hit. He actually jaunts in on the very, very end, committing the Dream Coil. He is more of a distraction than anything else. Naga lets the Song of the Siren out. It's clipping the edge of Samael. And this allows Mugi just to get the hell out of there. So, an escape, but Song of the Siren was just burned. EG have an Aegis the Immortal. They're going to come high ground now. And they actually have the Spirit Vessel. The Spirit Vessel's on the Naga.
He just completed that, but still such a rough position. He's only level 8, so that song cooldown's down for another 2 minutes. And that's the real way for Newbee to maybe find something in this upcoming engagement. But right now, it looks very scary for them. There's no BKB on the gyrocopter. Invoker still with no real survivability items. He does have the Ags, but it's these BKB timings. Until they get them, I don't know how they win a fight. Even when they do get them, where's the damage?
They just try and dodge. Mugi's already pushing out the bottom lane once more. They want the gold from the tier 1 towers. Death on bot lane. It's not just outside of deny range. But EG will focus on pushing the mid as well as the top. Arteezy can just solo pressure that top lane. He's got the full Hurricane Pike coming out in the courier at the moment too. I say the remaining pieces of the Hurricane Pike.
Fear about to finish his BKB. As you said, the Pike on our tour.
Yeah, actually needed a little bit longer because he's actually finished it. But it's back in the stash. So the Courier's just done the full run to bring out the Hurricane Pike for Arteezy, but Fear will have to wait another 30 seconds while the Courier does the long run.
Priorities.
Yep. Well, Samael found a target, going to be KP. KP just starts his TP, but that won't work. Not when there's Dream Call available. Samael's already drawn it to the right-hand side of him. So the sharp block is down. KP, hook shots up to the creep wave, triggering off his Hood of Defiance, looking for any kind of immunity and regeneration he can get. And in the tree line, he can wait, can't cog, Silence will stop it. And Evil Geniuses once more find another pickoff and extend their lead to 15,000 net worth.
Yeah. I feel like this is the script every time EG looks dominant, where Samael takes over the game, makes tons of space, eventually Artur surpasses him in net worth, and then by then they're ready to go high ground, and they're still the top 2.
Yep. exactly what's happening now too. So up towards the high ground, EMP Tornado. Quick call snap and Arteezy. They're even going to glimpse him back up again for a quick moment, but Samael into the back line's got a double silence over onto Kaka. They want him dead. There's no Song of the Siren, and especially when he's dead, it means there is no chance for it. Newbee, what do? You want a wall, you can't ulti. Now Faith, it really feels like both of these supports, they're trying their heart out to get some kind of opportunity for Newbee, but there is no opportunity. The tier 3 tower is gone. The Glaives will start wrecking any Newbee heroes that try and come close, and even if they do, Fear, sitting under the cover of Shadow Blade, is ready to Dragon Tail Solomon and just take a kill.
It just seems like a repeat of Katowice for me, where EG was able to take down Newbee in a BO3 in 2 consecutive 20-minute games. And right now, it just seems EG followed their script. Nothing they did was unexpected. I think nearly a Redditor could have predicted they'd AADK. And then Newbee just runs the same lineup that they've been consistently underperforming with. And I feel like if they don't make some sort of change, find some new flavor, you know, go back to first 2 Earth Spirit Bloodseeker, all right? That got them all the way to 2nd to TI. That was a year ago, but I'd rather see them try something that allows them to make plays and moves versus being completely dependent on having a favorable laning stage into this massive teamfight victory, because right now they just seem outclassed.
The player move also seems really difficult to do. Like you want a Song of the Siren into the Storm, and this was only going to work as long as you keep the advantage up. Like once the BKBs arrive, this combination doesn't really exist anymore. So the Naga pickup I can understand, but like some kind of swap control, instant hit, like VS, Rubik, the SK, these heroes have been picked up time and time again for a very legitimate reason. Now Newbee, they have to give this one last hurrah. If they do not stop this now, it will never stop. Song of the Siren out from Kaka. Who have they got isolated? It's only the Luna, the Aegis, the immortal hero. They have Puck a little bit further up, but the Storm Wall, it never came in time. It came way too late. And then the Snowball save. Arteezy turns on the BKB. The Aegis immortal will trigger from him, but they've already cleaned up the Invoker. There's not much more for Newbee to fight with. No buybacks available for any of these dead heroes. Then this is most definitely GG. 27 minutes, but it was over in 10. Evil Geniuses, they claim game 1 of this best of 3, and this is an elimination series too. Remember how this works? Breakout tournament. You've got a best of 3. You lose this, you're out. There is no more.
It's surprising a team of Newbee's pedigree is going to be in this position, but based on their play in the group stage and in the immediate past, it's like, this is what I expected coming into the series, and they got to do something. Because
we were talking about this beforehand. We're like, okay, man, are we going to have a good series to cast today? And we were both sitting there going, I really, really hope so. But so much of it was contingent on Newbee turning up and playing fantastic Dota. So far, game 1, we don't see that. Hopefully there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and game 2 can be completely different, and we do not repeat things like the TI4 Grand Final.
Horrific start for the homeboys. Newbee absolutely trounced in game number 1. It's Evil Geniuses that take the lead, and we'll get some thoughts now from our panel members. Fogged, it was a unanimous decision by our panel. You all said it would be Evil Geniuses, and I think Toby said in the commentary that was over by 10 minutes.
It was, yeah, they won all 3 lanes. They even get the first blood, which secures Sumail to get an Orb of Venom at the start of the game. And then the matchup there, it's the Puck versus Clockwork. Yeah, that's impossible for Clockwork to really have much happen. They have a passive lane mid, Invoker versus Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight wins that one as well. And then they ran an aggro tri-lane, which shuts down the Gyrocopter, which is their way back into the game kind of in a way. And they didn't really allow Newbee to do much.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the highlights in just a moment. There's not many highlights really for Newbee at all in there. Jack, is there?
Yeah, pretty resounding beatdown, I would say. Just, again, like with the draft, there's so many weapons they have to worry about from EG. From them, right now, they're in a position where their main weapon, the Naga, is no longer a reliable source at all for them.
We were all talking about it before, weren't we? We were saying if they give them the Naga Disruptor combo at the start of the game, in the first game, and they lose to it, that puts Newbee on the back foot straight away. Winter made exactly that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this is like your trump card and you're dealing with counters to this or it being banned out, and then they give you your trump card back, that happened against, I think, Optic as well, or whoever it was in the group stage, then you could be really lost as a team, because I thought they would come into these series trying to challenge EG's lanes a bit more with their drafts instead of try to just outscale them and win the team fights, because that's where EG has proven to be weak, not by scaling, but like sometimes their team fights, they have issues leading into the mid game. But instead, if you just get destroyed in all 3 lanes, which EG would love to take that, and now you don't have a game to play.
Where do they go from here, Fogged?
For me, I think they have to have. I don't like the Invoker. I think that hero is just way too greedy versus a team like EG that's been. When they're hot, they're ending games in 20 minutes, right? I think you need a hero that can just get in the game faster, and also, I mean, Core Clockwork for me is also not. Yeah, it's very very.
I mean, Invoker can work if you have like better lanes, and you sort of need your other lanes to do well, because Invoker is a kind of like mid hero that. This is exactly what we were talking about, the difference between Fear and SCCC mid. This hero that they pick in middle, he doesn't create space for his team. And when you are not creating space for a team, the other two lanes are losing. You just don't play Dota at all.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do in the game. They have this like off-lane Clockwork that doesn't even win his lane, because I mean, even if the Puck does not get the first bird, we start off even footing. Clockwork is still going to have a bad lane, because it's a difficult lane for him. And they're not helping him. This is just bad.
None of you have really got much to say about it, because there isn't much to say about it, and the scoreboard will demonstrate why.
I mean, I do have something to say about like how Newbee is like playing right now with the meta. I think the meta favors more of like a balanced distribution of resource across your 3 lanes. You cannot say that, oh, we're gonna sack this guy totally, and we're gonna try to help 2 lanes. You need to try to have all 3 lanes having decent amount of farm to be able to like move into the mid game and have your space maker play the game for you. If you're playing this kind of game and Kaka is always being sacked, I just can't see them moving into the mid game with some sort of game plan. You know, it's just way too difficult all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, for me, it's like at least for Newbee, it's very predictable this one around, right? We were saying the Naga Disruptor, they ran a safe lane, tri lane, they picked this Invoker last. So EG were pretty much like, okay, we know what they're gonna do exactly, and Newbee just fell right into their hands.
If they won the safe lane, I would say they would at least have a chance if they won the safe lane, because it's kind of like maybe a bit advantageous to EG's lineup because they have the AH chilling touch, but it's still possible for them to win that lane. I feel if they play better, get some pulls off, but. You know, they were caught out of position by the shots, really well played shot by Crate on the tusk, and just making sure that they get a pick off every single time.
You don't think it's a hard lane though, right? When you have Disruptor as your 5, that hero is very like you're at risk of always being ran at, especially in the laning phase. You don't really contribute a whole lot in comparison. So that's like, as much as I love Face Disruptor, I think if they're gonna try to do this, he might actually have to play something different, because it puts him at risk. Yeah, I think like Witch Doctor, one of these like really strong laners, could be a solution.
So I thought the Willow was an option for them.
Willow as well.
Less of these Invokers, I would say more. Maybe if you want something that has tempo, or it punishes a little bit more, or that is able to keep up early game and help make space, you go back to something like a Queen of Pain. But then that goes back to kind of the previous role, right? He would be farming and playing cleanup in that sense, but he's not the big scaling core anymore. So I think they're going to have to make some kind of adjustment.
Or, I mean, just an adjustment, right? Or I think also, like, maybe even, okay, we're having an idea that EG might go aggro. Let's just sack our Clockwork. Clockwork go top, they run an aggro tri-lane themselves. And then it's like, all right, then the Puck isn't going to have this incredibly good game. They just have to be less predictable. That's my big thing for them. And it's, I don't like saying that so much about Newbee, too, because, I mean, in Genting, one of the things we said, we're like, Newbee's being way too predictable, and then they just dominated that tournament doing the same thing over and over again. But now, these heroes have been hit by nerfs. Naga Siren got nerfed a couple times, Disruptor too.
There's also 3 months worth of matches now, and people figured out what they're doing now. Is that they know
the
what they're doing.
Meta change a lot, and how teams are utilizing the lanes and swapping out for matchups, getting better control. They know which hero needs to have a better lane, and they are putting it in a specific lane to sacrificing the correct heroes. So everything is like really different right now compared to Genting.
And they're changing heroes too, right? They're picking new ones, like Luna. Luna wasn't really getting picked at all much, and now like these, in particular the NA teams like Optic, they're picking Luna a lot of their games. EG as well. I think this hero is going to be on the rise.
Okay, we're going to get more from all 3 of you in just a moment, but I headed to a quick break. When we come back, course game number 2. But first, let's get some words from Kaka.